Talk to Cassius. Conversations with today's icons from business, sports, and entertainment. I'm your host, Cassius F. Butts.
Brandon, we are back here with Talk to Cassius. Another great episode. First, before we get started, of course, want to give an acknowledgement to First Choice Credit Union. You can get all your banking needs at First Choice: credit cards, lines of credit, mortgages, consumer loans, and 3P, payroll protection programs going on as well, too.
Very important and relevant in these times where business owners, small business owners, looking to keep themselves and their employees up and running. First Choice should be your first choice when you need those kinds of services.
There you go. There you have it. Of course, for our listeners and watchers, thank you for joining us again here at Talk to Cassius. We are here with someone pretty unique and kind of special, Brandon. He's kind of a cool guy, Vince. You already noticed already. This is Stephen Smith.
It's something about his stroll, something about his smile, something about he's got the swag. Saw that hit you in the face when you walked through the door with
swag on 100,000 trillion.
I'm just trying to be Cassius. So.
Oh, man, look, no, let me tell you, look, Stephen's that guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you today to Mr. Stephen Smith, a good friend of really just the entrepreneurial world, the legal world, and just that guy. Stephen, thanks for joining us today.
No, happy to join. Obviously, anytime you ask, I'm here. And like I said, just trying to be like Cassius. That's my paid promotion. So.
No. Let me tell you. Hey, listen, let's go ahead and get into it, Stephen.
Definitely.
You are, and folks, if you have not realized and recognized, he's got that Southern swag. He does. No, you're an Auburn guy.
I am.
And University of Mississippi Law School, right?
Yeah, grew up in Alabama, went to Auburn. Auburn was kind of the trend. I mean, in Alabama, it's Auburn or Alabama for undergrad. So I grew up an Auburn fan, went to Ole Miss for law school. Oxford was a good time. Actually, my wife and I got married when we were in law school, so kind of sentimental in my heart for Oxford, Mississippi. And then been in Atlanta the last 10 years.
Last 10 years, you worked for the EPA. He's a serial entrepreneur. And also, Brandon, if you hadn't been able to tell, we used to give him a hard time. We used to call him Little Matthew McConaughey. He's got that. Stephen, back up a little bit. Let's folks see they see it.
I see it.
They have my Lincoln keys.
Oh, man, so look, we used to get together and we say, Stephen, man, I said, dude, you sound just like him, too. And then he would do the famous.
All right.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
No, but really, so University of Alabama.
Auburn. Let's be careful.
That's like Jets and Giants.
You know what? I did it again.
Oil and vinegar.
I did it again. You're right.
I might have to leave right now.
Yeah, you might have to. But the cool part about it is, there are 5 of you.
Well, there's 6 of us. So my dad has 6 boys.
Yeah.
I'm the third child, and we got to do our thing. And obviously, sports has been a big part of having brothers. I've got 3 boys myself, so I'm kind of reliving that as my parents lived it.
You didn't have them by
years
yourself,
ago.
though, did you?
Huh?
You didn't have them by yourself.
Well, I got my wife.
Okay, she helped out. Okay,
I didn't know they were doing
my
that at
beautiful
Auburn
and
yet.
smart wife, Catherine. Yeah, it is Alabama, so you never know. But no, we got it's good times actually. It's good times with having kids. 3, 8, 3, and 1. Kind of living the life my dad's living.
You kind of got the gene, man. I mean, it's 5 boys, and from you and your siblings. Then you got 3 boys yourself.
Yeah, and of all the grandkids, I think they're like 13, 14.
Yeah.
It's about 50-50 when it comes to girl and boy. But we just happen to, I'm partial to boys. I like it. It's fun. Yeah. It's hectic at times, but it's a lot of fun.
So, Brandon, the cool part about it, of course, as many of you already know, we focus on business, sports, and entertainment. And really, Stephen comes from a family of really sports enthusiasts and actually professional players as well too. Before jumping in and talking about really your background, because we want to talk about you being in this legal world, and also you work for the federal government too. Paid taxes this year. We haven't paid taxes. I can pay taxes.
You always
That's not me.
Stay green.
That's not me.
The other side of federal government. Okay. Okay. There.
So I'm the good one trying to help with clean water, clean air.
Clean water. Let's talk about that first before we start talking about
good
the sports
government
side.
folks.
Yeah, you know.
It's
a good mission. So
EPA.
Yeah, I've been at the EPA for the last 10 years. I'm an attorney for them. I've done a lot of different stuff, but mostly focused on environmental cleanups. Right now I'm doing water law, which is interesting. So it's just kind of keeping the water clean. Yeah, water law, it's essentially stormwater. When it rains, water has to go somewhere, obviously. And most of the time, all the time, typically it goes to some creek or watershed. Sometimes it goes to a treatment facility, but regardless, there's regulations associated with making sure that's clean and proper. So when you're drinking or when you're out swimming or fishing, whatever it may be, that water's safe.
What drew you to that facet? Well, a lot of attorneys have a passion for something. How was your passion level to get to that level of importance in the EPA and doing that work for the federal government?
Yeah, actually, so I always knew I wanted to go to law school. Growing up, I wanted to be a judge. Not sure if I care to be that now, but I'm glad I went to law school. But I actually worked on offshore oil rigs during the summer while I was at Auburn.
Oh, wow.
Down in the Gulf of Mexico. And at that time, that experience, which was a kind of unique experience, it caused me to be interested in energy law. But my wife and I were getting married. She's from the Atlanta area, knew we wanted to move back to Atlanta. The thought was focusing on environmental law because Atlanta has a good stuff. So I interned with the EPA, got offered a job, and have been there ever since, and have enjoyed it ever since.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, the great part about it is, back up a little bit, folks. Let folks
I feel like I'm
see
like
you.
on it.
You got up, and so you got the whole, because this is him all the time.
He's
He's
got the
always
collar
dressed to the T. That is him. One time we were at a meeting with a high-ranking official here, Brandon. Stephen walks in the room. He's got his suit on, no belt. He's got his pants down, and the boots are on. And they're like, "Whoa, where'd you get those boots from?" He's that guy.
Yeah, you can already tell the collar's up.
Yeah.
Well,
already
look,
ready to roll.
And I'll say about the belt, man. If you don't need the belt, why wear it?
Yeah. Hey, so look, I love it. So, Stephen, tell us. So, we focus again a lot about business, sports, and entertainment.
Yeah.
You come from a family nothing but sports. Your dad played quarterback.
Quarterback
For Auburn, right?
Yeah, definitely. He was back in the Pat Sullivan days. He won the Heisman back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
And, it's always been a big part of our life.
Did you hear him skip over that?
Oh, he won a Heisman back in the 70s.
It was just
he was just throwing it a little bit around there at Auburn.
No, he played
Power
with
5
Sullivan,
school.
who won the Heisman.
Who won the Heisman.
Yeah.
But still, I mean,
But,
your dad was, he's
certainly. Yeah, it was
I
a
thought he
big
was a
part of
football player.
how we
Guy's
were
guy.
growing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. And I got brothers that have played college ball, baseball, and even in pros. So, yeah, it's a big part of our life.
all of you have played, including you. You've played, right?
Yeah. I mean, everybody grew up playing and stuff like that was a big important thing for me. One unique thing about the 6 boys that we have, like we're a very diverse group of people, yet we're very, very similar. So my oldest brother is an artist. My second oldest brother is a pastor. I'm the attorney, kind of business guy, I guess you could say.
Right.
The fourth is the baseball player who got drafted, played baseball, pitched at Auburn. And then we got 2 more, one of which is playing D1 baseball as a pitcher, and the other who's just applied to Harvard.
Wow.
Just a smart-ass guy. So.
Wow. It's incredible.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
You guys come from a very diverse background. You talked about working for the EPA, and there are other things that you do. Focusing your time when you are an adult, when you are a husband, when you are a father to multiple children, and you have responsibilities. How do you craft out time, one, for yourself, but also for your side hustles that you want to see flourish as well?
Yeah. No, I think the first thing is partnership with your wife or your partner, whatever it may be. Because if you don't have that support from them, then you're really struggling. Obviously, if you didn't have any kids, living that single life like Cassius, Bachelor of the Year, you got some of that time. But when you got kids, you got to figure out what makes the most meaningful impact. And so career obviously is very important. The side hustles are something that, with my job, it allows me to focus on problem solving, evaluating risk, liability. Well, I like that aspect, and I feel good about it. Obviously, the EPA, it's a very mission-driven organization. But beyond that, the creativity, the more business-minded, constantly wanting to improve things, like the whole good to great thought from Jim Collins, just constantly thinking about those kinds of thoughts. The side hustles allow me to do that. And so my wife's been very supportive of that. And they haven't all been successes, but I think even without the success, they're a big learning experience and something I've enjoyed. I encourage anybody to pursue a side hustle.
But you try, and you've tried, and you've been successful. And all Bachelor of the Year has gone out the window. I'm not spoken for now. I can't do it anymore.
We got to catch up after that.
Hey, but I tell you, the thing about it is that you did something really unique. One of your businesses that focus on picture framing.
Talk
to us about that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Square Frame. It was a thought of trying to, with our digital culture, it's trying to get these photos that we take essentially with all of our cameras on our phones and getting them into your house, get them into your office space. I mean, obviously in the studio, having framed photos, which is very popular. And so it's trying to do that conveniently through an app. So that's what we do. We still exist. I set it up in a way that it doesn't take up any of my time. I've set up to a fulfillment company, set up to the app to where it's essentially self-maintenance. So it's a good setup and it's a good service.
So how do people actually go in? Let me make sure I'm straight. you have a picture like, man, it'll be great to have this frame.
Yeah, certainly.
And so what do they do?
Yeah, so it's an iOS app through Apple.
Okay.
And essentially you would download it, just search
And I'm
Square
looking it up
Frame
right
in the
now.
App
Yeah,
Store.
yeah.
You can look it up. But essentially we can access any photo on your phone. And there's other services out there, certainly. But the thought was for us, we wanted to make it as convenient and value driven as possible. So our frames start at $20. So you're talking about like a gift. I mean, I'm not sure about your mothers, but I mean, anything with Mother's Day coming up, other things, there is a big opportunity because photo frames are very meaningful to people.
And it's something to that point,
Yes.
Something to hold on. We have phones and everybody's using the technology, but we'll have 5, 10,
Yes.
12, 14,000
Yes.
pictures on your phone, but they're just on your phone to have the ability where you could send something, one or two,
Yeah.
that they could hold on, and it's in a nice frame. That is something that I think a lot of people will want to get their hands on.
Yeah, well, the reality is these photos end up in our cloud, end up in social media, and that's really where they stay. And so the thought was to get them printed, tangible, kind of look at them. And we've seen the videos where people are opening up, Christmas gifts, whatever it may be, and when it's a frame of a photo of a special moment, there's something very meaningful about that, like I said.
So you manufacture actually right here too, United States.
Yeah,
too,
so
right?
it's right out of Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay.
So we actually process all of that through Atlanta.
So if you could record if you could take a picture, how does that work? If we do it through the phone.
Yeah.
And folks in your warehouse, they'll say, hey, we're going to put this together.
Yeah.
What's the turnaround time? How does that work?
Oh, yeah, we fulfill within the next 2 business days.
Really?
So, yeah.
2 business days.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty
so,
cool.
And we've streamlined the process to where you're not able to we don't have like 100 different SKUs. It's a focused on 6 colors, 6 different frame sizes. And like I said, it started at $20, it goes up all the way to $35. But it was just to focus on being as value driven as possible and to be a quality product.
So how much time does that take up?
It doesn't take much time at all. And the reality is that's kind of how I set it up. Just because from 24 hours in the day with the family, that's my main priority.
That's right.
And my day job, which is my second priority. This is something that I'm doing on the side. So it's something that it's fun. I've enjoyed it. I like the idea of kind of creating things. I'm constantly walking into places and figuring out, all right, could they have marketed that differently? Was there somewhere they can make this better? I think many of us do that. I'm that guy that has like business ideas all throughout his phone on his notes app of his phone. But it just kind of allows me to be creative and kind of I guess filter through some of that thought.
Brandon, you got to hear about this other business he has, and this pajama business, man.
Oh,
man,
my wife
it's kinda
loves
cool,
pajamas.
man.
Hey,
Man.
you know what? Your
Yeah.
wife does love pajamas, and the goal of the company was to make sure you love pajamas. So
Okay.
my thought was, all of our wives and like pajamas, like when you get home late at night, they're commonly in pajamas. And so my wife obviously loved them, and I kind of thought, man, maybe I might like. And so my goal of Souther Smith, which is actually named after my son, was to create the perfect pajama for the man. And it's custom loungewear. And it's actually going to be made in Atlanta. And it was out of a performance material, much like any golf shirt or other materials you might have used for working out, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And just to kind of give you something a little nicer, because reality is, hey, Brandon, what do you change into when you get home?
I usually put on some sweatpants is what I usually put
That's
on.
what like nearly every man does.
Yeah.
But yet there's people who have custom suits in their closet, custom shirts, all kinds of stuff. And so my thought was to actually give them alternative, and I thought the wives would appreciate it. And essentially do custom loungewear for men. We did some for women as well, but it was mainly focused towards men. And the reality is when you're wearing something nicer, just like if you're going to that meeting, that negotiation, and you got your favorite tie on, your favorite suit, your favorite shoes, whatever it may be, your mindset's slightly improved just because what you're wearing. And it's not any different when you're wearing something nicer at home as opposed to wearing that old 5K T-shirt or, those old, beat up, sweatpants or Morehouse, whatever it may be.
My stuff just magically disappears. I thought I had something, and then it goes into the giveaway box. How far down the road? Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
When you have all this on your plate, how far ahead are you looking for the next move or the next idea, or does it come organically? And then you get to work with it.
I mean, there's certainly some strategy involved, but like for Souther Smith, the loungewear, like it's on its way out. I'm kind of acknowledging that it's dead. I think it may be revived. I got tons of boxes, like really nice, Souther Smith boxes that I was planning on delivering. But the thing is there's just it's a learning experience for these businesses. For anyone else who's created a business, a side hustle, there's a lot of factors that come into play, and There's a lot of luck that comes into play. And despite some of my best efforts, it's just one of those things that the quality control that I was looking for to do it out of Atlanta just wasn't what I was able to do. My budget associated with, producing thousands of them is just not there. So I'm looking at doing it custom. So in fact, my premise was going to be that when you order it, it'll be made over the next 4 weeks. This whole thought that it was made just for you, that was custom. And so, it may come back one day, but I'll tell you that the learning experiences from kind of making that, business started, everything that went behind creating it was enjoyable and a learning experience.
So Brandon, before we start to wrap up with Stephen, 40 under 40, this guy right here. Great ceremony last year. How was that?
Chronicle. Yeah, it was great. Obviously, Cassius, you were there as the person who nominated me, but I'm a big fan of Atlanta Business Chronicle, and they do a lot of good stuff. And I think the 40 under 40 award is a very meaningful award to be given out to people who are trying their best to do different things. And
But one of the things that I'd mentioned, Brandon, that made it, I thought, a nice achievement is his volunteer work. Brandon, when you talk about, you don't hear what people do in their volunteering time. You come from a family of faith, and talk about this volunteer effort that you were involved with in a very, very, very close to heart.
Yeah. I compare it somewhat to entrepreneurship. I mean, the thought is that your investment in your community is just like an investment into a business, whether it's a for-profit or nonprofit. And so I'm currently chair of Trendy Community Ministries, which is a transitional facility, actually really close to First Choice. It's in that Sweet Auburn area, Auburn Ave area. And essentially they got 36 beds for men. It's focused on the homeless community and veteran community in downtown Atlanta. And it's making transformational impacts in the lives of these men. And so I'm the chair of that board. I'm also the chair of Avondale Elementary Education Foundation out in the Avondale States area, East Atlanta. And that's focused on early childhood education. In fact, one of the main things that I kind of commend myself to, I did a police ride-along with the APD. And I encourage anyone who hasn't already done that to do some type of ride-along with first responders.
With you. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've done that, Brendan, but it's extremely impactful to kind of learn from them kind of what they're experiencing. And so I did that ride along, had a great interaction with the chief that I was kind of riding along with. And the main thing that I picked up on was that early childhood education, kind of addressing some of the problems of these households early, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, can drastically change their trajectory as they get to their teens, which is a lot of times where maybe they might get caught up in the law, whatever it may be. And so I kind of commend myself to early childhood education, and on the back end, this homelessness, recidivism issue, which is so prevalent, unfortunately.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you, we want to get that address for the frames. Let folks know how to.
Oh yeah. So you can just go to sqframeapp.com, or you can just search on the iOS if you have a iPhone or iPad. Search on the App Store for Square Frame.
Okay. All the pictures that you have in your phones, if you're like me, you could probably get a gazillion in there. You can get them from Steven, and he can frame them for you, Brandon. And
that's 17,000.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I already know what I'm going to get my wife for Christmas.
Yeah.
I already know what I'm going to get the wife for her birthday.
Yeah.
It'll be a very special picture.
It's better than
very
flowers.
Special frame.
Think about that moment from your anniversary, whatever it may be, and just within that 2 minutes, you got it out.
That time I caught her throwing one of my shirts away.
Steven, any lasting words to talk about what's next? Any lasting words that you'd like to give us, and how can folks follow you on any social media outlets?
Yeah. So I guess I don't really post much on social media. I'm on Instagram at Smith STP.
Yep.
But I just encourage people to kind of be very intentional. That's kind of what people ask me about that, and just being intentional with your time. We talked about my kids and family and different stuff that I'm doing. You got to be very selective with what you're putting your time to, and what you put your time to is really what's kind of making that impact. And so invest in the community, invest in your family, and you should do good things.
Another great host here on Talk to Cassius. Brandon, any last words you want to kind of wrap up before we go here?
No, I'm very motivated, and I think the things you've been doing with those that need help, the things that you've been doing with young people, and I think the things that you show that you are out and about in multiple arenas certainly are things that people can take with them. And I'm inspired. I'm glad I got a chance to meet you today. Thank you, Cass.
Likewise.
Oh, hey, look,
he is the connector. I mean, he knows everybody.
Great connector.
He promotes everybody.
I just know great people, and I like to hang around them when I can. Listen, here's another great time on Talk to Cassius. Always remember, continue to follow your passion. You'll be certain never become lost. See you next time.